First pitch. And Alex lines it to the left center field at the base hit. Pitcher around third and coming home. Easy up with the baseball. The throw to the plate. Not in time. Astros win. Astros win.
One every time.
Alvarez hits a high drive center field. Veer leans back. This game is turned upside down.
And the pitch is lifted to right by Castellanos. Long run for Tucker over toward the line and foul territory. Makes the catch, and the Houston Astros do it again. 2022 World Series champions.
Welcome to Go Astros, your look at the two-time World Series champions from three guys who have been here since Art Howe had hair.
Here come the Astros, breathing orange fire. Here come the Astros.
It's never not.
That opening is always going to make me think, why can Yordan Alvarez never be in the list of potential home run champions in this league? Why is that a thing? Good morning. Spring has sprung. This is Go Astros. I'm Andy Tomcheson. That's James Jesitz, Christopher, all the names. I may know him from a former life. And he may be on the run for the law. And below us is Brian Arbor, Orange Fire from the wilds of New Jersey. Or maybe Yonkers. Who knows where his unlocated park might be. Spring has sprung. As I mentioned, we are 69 days away from opening day.
Yeah, nice.
Which is why I mentioned it. There's not a lot of hard-hitting topics today, so this will be more of a potpourri, if you will, a menagerie of various topics. But one of the things I did notice over the weekend is that MLB listed a potential home run champion list of 5 who are going to be there and 5 dark horses, and somehow the guy who turned the world upside down a couple of years ago isn't on the list, isn't on either of the lists. Why do people hate Yordan Alvarez, Jim?
Racism. I don't know. I don't get it, and I'm sure like Brian will make me feel better about life when he explains why he shouldn't be on the list. Maybe, I hope, I don't know, but I do find it so bizarre that a guy who, like, I think Aroldis Garcia did beat him last year, but in with 90 more games or something. Like, I don't understand it. This guy just seems to hit a home run every time you're turning around, and when you really need one, I don't understand why he can't be considered at least a dark horse to lead the league in home runs.
Yeah, I mean, so he should be. I mean, the issue was, of course, for last year that he hit 31 home runs, which puts him, I think, 13th, if I'm looking at this right, among major leaguers. And part of that was because he missed so much. He got less than 500 at bats. And that's part of been the story of Yordan, right? Is that when he's on the field or in the batter's box, he's awesome. And then, but when he's not quite played a full season, basically any season in his career. So his counting stats aren't as strong as they are for other people. I think the other thing to note about Yordan from this is, like second in home runs last year was Kyle Schwarber, and Kyle Schwarber's talents on a baseball field are hitting home runs, and that's it. Like, I think Kyle Schwarber may have had a batting average. If it was above 200, it wasn't much above 200. He takes walks, so I should give him that as well. But Yordan is a outstanding hitter for average. He has he really sort of dominates plate appearances. He doesn't take a ton of walks, in part because he's so quick to the ball. He rarely swings and misses. So when he swings, he's really effective. So he's really, I think there's a lot of people who recognize this. Juan Soto are usually at the list of the top 2 just pure hitters in baseball. Mm-hmm. And then he gets dinged a little also because he DHs so much, and that hurts him in WAR calculations. But that's not important to this discussion.
Well, I mean, it might be, because it boggles my mind that, and this isn't a Houston, woe is me and Houston gets picked on thing, but it does seem like he gets a little bit less recognition for the things he's accomplished so far in his young career, because barring the injury, and I think that's the big ding about him, is he hasn't played a full season yet. He's yet to be healthy for 162 games. I don't know if that's something he's capable of doing at this point because we haven't seen it. I hope so. But I think if he can, that's going to turn a lot of people's opinions around or get him more top of mind, as it were. But this is the kind of stuff we're going to be talking about for the next couple of weeks because we're in the stage of nothing's really happening other than games are being played, which is great. The Astros have started off 1-2. We were all very excited after the first game. Not so excited after our split squad. And why were they playing split squad games on the second day of spring training? I think even Joe Espada was complaining about that a little bit yesterday on the broadcast, from what I could tell. Dana Brown was, excuse me. Nobody really understood why they had to be in Port St. Lucie and at the Cacti Field and at ballparks at the Palms. That's a lot for a name.
Can I make an unimportant point here?
Sure.
This is what this show is, yes.
How did Cacti not buy the sponsorship of one of the spring training parks in Arizona?
I wondered the same thing.
This is, this seems to be a missed, hey, welcome to Cacti Park, and here's a picture of a here's a picture of a cactus out in the outfield.
I don't know this for sure, but it probably is the same decision makers who put an Astros cap from New Era with cactus and mountains on it. The desert landscape of Houston is New Era is really stretching sometimes.
At least it did the same thing to New York, because New York is like all hills and mountains. I was like, okay, I know upstate New York has hills and mountains, but I'm not sure walking through Manhattan I've seen very many, but whatever.
I can see a mountain from this window right over here, but it didn't look like anything on those hats. I can assure you that. When the Cub Scouts go camping, it's not on those mountains.
So what are we talking about to get upstate New York from Manhattan? Just a 3-hour drive, not counting traffic? I mean, is it even that far? Because it takes 12 hours.
It depends on the New Yorker you talk to, because some people consider Yonkers, which borders New York, upstate. So it really depends on, some people believe if the subway doesn't go there, it's upstate.
I think Big Bend.
And that guy, by the way, is 3 offices to the right of me when I'm at work.
I think Big Bend is 8 hours away. I think
it's easy 8 hours.
Is almost 12 hours away. That's an airplane line that you have to actually change planes to get to sometimes. So I don't get it. I don't understand it, but I don't understand a lot of things that New Era and, frankly, a lot of the manufacturers of uniforms do. Did you like that? At
least we don't have to talk about any more uniform stuff today.
Well, I was going to segue, but you just killed it. Done. So I think in life as an adult, we all like to see transparency in things. I think if we had more transparency, JFK wouldn't have been assassinated if the CIA was just a little bit more forthcoming about things they didn't like. But transparency with the MLB has gone a little bit too far this spring. As Jim pointed out in the text, there's been several round of videos with the the thinness of the new uniforms, the cut of the new uniforms. There's a lot of issues with the new uniforms. Jim, can you bring us up to speed on what the issues are?
Well, the best part is every time you log into some social media account, there's a new issue. So first it started out with just the overall look of the jerseys. Somebody said they look like a giveaway jersey. They don't look like, and I appreciate he even mentioned the fans. It doesn't look like something a fan should pay $250 for, whatever it was. Then I saw side by side, and then you see the difference. I saw it was a Mariners jersey side by side, and the lettering is a third the size of what it was on the original. It's minuscule.
Yeah.
And then we got to the pants. And now you're starting to see jokes about the new MLB rule is everybody's walking to the plate with 2 balls already because you can see through the pants. Now, I will say that my wife and my very gay best friend appreciate the new pants. So maybe that's Major League Baseball's way of telling the Rangers you will celebrate LGBTQ night, whether you like it or not. I don't know, but yeah, you can just see through stuff. And then not only that, but apparently there's a shortage of pants. So a lot of times, like if you tear a pair of pants, there's no backup pants in the clubhouse for you to wear right now. I mean, I don't understand any of it except that it's a supply chain issue, I guess. I don't know, but that's
I saw a tweet yesterday that said a massive dong. And I wondered if it was about a home run or about the pants.
And now it's 50-50. It could be a penis or a home run.
Yes.
Or if it's Cody Bellinger, a penis hitting a home run.
It's, not just a supply chain issue. It's an issue with Nike and Fanatics. And a little bit of background. Fanatics has been manufacturing the jerseys on behalf of Nike for almost the last 4 years. So I don't know how much blame goes on Fanatics here. And frankly, I was a little surprised to learn that, because when I've tried to order a jersey online from MLB Shop, which is run by Fanatics, it takes years to get that jersey in. You'd think if they were manufacturing them, they would have them available. That's a different aside. But under some direction from somebody at Nike, they have this new material, the Ultra Flex Cool Base, and literally they just throw nouns out to describe a thinner jersey. They look cheap. They look cheap in the broadcast yesterday. Just you can tell by the way they pull. The players, and a lot of the, I guess, consternation amongst fans is that the players don't care. Why should I care? Well, the players do care. One of the things that you're seeing is there's a shortage of pants, but I think more importantly, if you didn't address that, there's a shortage of correct fit. And you're seeing some of that in watching these spring training games. From what I've read, Nike is very proud that they image typed 300 different players to get perfect sizing. Well, the problem is they used to offer 7 different versions of like an extra large shirt, or a 48 is what they would have called that. And in a real world, we know that we can look at Yordan Alvarez and Daniel Vogelbach and realize that they might both wear XX shirts, those are not the same body types.
Yeah.
But now we're down to 3 or 4 different jersey cuts. So they're going to look weird. The pants are even worse because the pants used to get tailored from Nike. And I mean, there might have been 27 to 75 different permutations of length and thigh width, and I mean, just all the different measurements that you would take for a tailored pant. They're not doing that anymore. So it's turned to the clubhouse to do that. And in spring training, they don't have a lot of time to do that for 100 players that might be running through the camp. Well,
and good luck tailoring these pants if the material's really as cheap as they're saying it is. I mean, good luck making massive adjustments.
Hold on, James. It's important to know that Major League Baseball says they're exact same as they were last year. They also believe that Big Bend is near Houston. So,
that does remind me though, Brian, my favorite meme of the whole thing with the pants is, looks like Major League Baseball is using 2 different balls again. And it was literally, you can see the dudes. Oh boy.
Yeah. And this is going to be an ongoing thing. And I can tell you as a A&M fan, having played the University of Texas for most of the time that I grew up, UT has famously worn Nike pants proudly. And those pants often are see-through.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not a new issue for Nike. But it seems to be like the players are upset about it. The fans are really upset about the jersey piece. And even the players union, it has Tony Clark has set up and said, we're addressing this. We want this to get fixed, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, as you might guess, Rob Manfred has kind of said, no, there's no issue at all. These are not the droids you're looking for.
Nothing to
Why
see
does
here.
he think? But I mean, it literally was a hand wave. I watched him talk. No, these are fine. These are the same pants we've always used. Why do people lie, Brian?
Rob Manfred lies because that is the to go back to our conversation last week about Rob Manfred retiring because he's going to replace him. Part of the job requirement is to say, is to not tell the truth because the truth may cost him money. And in the end, this seems to be, because we don't have all the details in, but this sure seems to be people saying, how can we cut out an extra step or two that, would reduce the cost of something that we can then sell for the exact same amount and increase our profits. And there's a term that's become popular that sort of describes this kind of thing. It's particularly true on the sort of internet things, but true in other ways, which is the in-shitification, which is that I will make things. Yeah. I can't remember the guy who came up with it. I should give him proper credit because it's not mine.
Was it Rich Hall on Sniglets?
No, and actually saw a political scientist writing us about it on his Substack, which is 95% political scientists describing the Red Sox. So But it's a broad thing which applies to the Red Sox too, which is like we have a really good thing going, but if we cut out some of our cost, will anybody notice? This is why your websites have more junk in them now and are harder to get working. This is why the Red Sox aren't spending as much money and trading Mookie Betts. And this is why Major League Baseball said, will anyone notice if we make the pants worse? And probably for a bunch of other things too, which we haven't actually noticed. How to fix this? I don't know, right? Because, Major League Baseball has proven for over a century that they desperately care about money. And they desperately care about money more than they care about growing the game and more than they care about the fans. Sort of related things. And again, here's pretty, okay, I'm going to say clear evidence of that, which is both figuratively and literally true here.
All I know is my wife laughed at me when I stocked up on Majestic jerseys when the whole Nike thing was going to happen. I'm glad I did. I am losing quite a bit of weight, which means I'm going to need a new jersey at some point. And I do think they're at least selling for fans the original version still, because they're calling this new one, like you said, Andy, it's got a new fancy fast name, but it's a little silly.
Hey, nobody needs New Jersey, Jim. Ask anybody in New York, they'll tell you. B, I am also a very soft touch when it comes to MLB merchandise, and so I would love to sit here and say I'm not going to buy. I don't need a new jersey. I've wanted a gray road jersey, never picked one up. Was thinking of getting one this year. I'm going to have to see one of these things out in retail. I'm going to have to touch it and feel it. And as Nike has already announced, there's going to be like 3 different price points on these things. So if you want the true on-the-field thing that they have on the field, well, that's a $250 jersey. The one people are currently complaining about is a $175 jersey. And then there'll be what's basically a button-up jersey available at retail for $100. So
Hold on. The thing you're seeing on the field is usually costs more than $250, at least for the high class version.
Yeah, and they're calling it Nike's calling it their Vapor jersey.
I'm sorry, I meant $350. Thank you for correcting me. But yeah, it's the Ultra Max Vapor Rub. If you have a cold, put it on your chest. Your grandma's gonna eat chicken soup jersey. I don't know. It's crap, and you can tell that it's crap, and it looks like Little League lettering. I don't know that the things are actually stitched on anymore. They may be heat pressed. That was one of the potential complaints. I know the things that are going to be available for fans at that midpoint price will not be stitched on anymore. So why am I paying that kind of money? And that's, as you may know from our many travels to different ballparks, that's a hard jump for me I'm not going to spend that money.
Yeah. I mean,
it should be. I should be an adult and not spend that money, but that's. I think it's going to end up costing them more money in the long run.
Yeah, I think it will too. I honestly do, and I'm disappointed as much as anything. And like I said, I think that there's still a distinction, at least right now on the Astros website. I'm kind of trolling through it where there's a difference between the Vapor Limited jersey and their other ones. So, but you're exactly right too. They're really bragging about the fact that the logos are what they're calling heat applied twill logos. And it's one of the features of it. And I'm all like, no, I want it to feel, I don't want to feel like it's going to fall off after 2 washings.
Well, and as our one fan mentioned in the comments here, you can always buy replica jerseys from China. They're going to be a couple of years behind the curve and probably still have the Majestic bases.
Yeah. But then they'll be the wrong orange.
If you would like a Carlos Correa jersey, China can get you set up. Carlos Correa Astros jersey, China can get you set up for that.
100%. You'll also lose some of your personal freedoms, but don't worry about that.
But you're getting a cheap jersey, so what do I care?
Rob Manfred doesn't care.
Yeah.
On more Astro-centric news, because I think we've beaten this horse to death, over the weekend there were a couple of things. To no one's surprise, but probably a lot of people's chagrin, Forrest Whitley missed a scheduled appearance because he has an inflamed finger. These are the kind of things you're going to see early in spring trading. However, for Forrest Whitley, every setback is going to feel like another mountain to climb, I'm assuming, for fans. And Justin Verlander has doubled down on it's going to get tight, and there's no clear forecast on when I'm going to be available to pitch, but probably not by opening day, but maybe. First on Forrest Whitley, this is probably not a big deal. It's an inflamed finger. He'll probably make his next appearance, whatever, they give him some antibiotics. On Verlander, I am probably of the opinion, and I don't know how many people share it, that I don't really care if he's available for opening day. And we'll start with Brian on either one of these. How much do we care if Justin Verlander does more than wave his hat on opening day in Houston?
Well, it depends on how long he is in the hat waving business and how long he is in, and how quickly he gets into the throwing pitches business. And so, yeah, if he's down for opening day and he comes back 10 days later, that's not a big deal in the broad scheme of things. If it's a longer term issue, it's obviously a bigger deal, period. What's unclear to me, and having read a lot about this here, is that 2 years ago, every major league pitcher, including Justin Verlander, got ready in 28 days. And so he's got 28 days. How far behind is he from that? And that's something that, everything I've read on this hasn't sort of addressed that. He's throwing on the mound. He's throwing bullpens. He isn't going full go, and it's going to be a while before he's actually in a game. But, again, how different is this than 2 years ago? I mean, it's, and the other thing here is, much as I've always said, Lance McCullers is an unreliable narrator because he's too optimistic. I do wonder if Justin Verlander is an unreliable narrator of his arm because he is too much a creature of routine.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore, this isn't what I normally do, and I need to be what I normally do, and I hate this.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think that Verlander could be an unreliable narrator because I think sometimes he does seem to not want to be seen as overly optimistic. The other thing, the way I took it, because he is, like you said, thrown off the mound, Brian, he is starting to throw breaking balls from flat ground. But I also think because he's so meticulous, such a creature of habit, that he's purely backward planning and saying, I'm feeling okay, but I'm feeling okay 2 weeks later, which means this happens then, and this happens then, and this happens then. I don't think it's I am not feeling good. I haven't even started throwing yet deal, which that would be concerning. In many ways, I'm more worried about Forrest Whitley because it does seem like little things turn into big things with him. And I do, just as much as I want to root for the kid, like he's really stuck it out and really grinded through this whole thing. But I'm really not worried about Verlander I don't know that he's going to be hat waving for very long. And I want him to know that he can pitch when he gets back because he's going to be key. And you don't want to risk somebody in his age 40 season or 40 plus season doing damage that actually does linger with him throughout the year. So I say take as much time as you need.
Yeah, I'm kind of the opinion with Verlander too. I don't care if he pitches in April. I don't. I mean, we have starting pitching. We don't have starting pitchers that are as good as Justin Verlander when he's at his best. But we have enough. We have enough bodies out there to get through that first month without him. I think if it lingers into May, that would be more of a concern. But ultimately, you have Justin Verlander on your team for September and October. So April, and I know fans, a win's a win no matter what happens in the season. Yes, that's true. But you can make up wins that you don't pick up in April, that you can't make them up in October.
Right.
With Whitley, again, to me, the joke is, does this kid even exist? I feel bad for him because it seems like it's always something. At least it's not an elbow or a shoulder because that's where the problem has usually been. And this is a fairly minor thing. And if it was anybody else, I doubt they would even have told us about it, to be real honest with you. If it was Fromber because his finger hurt, I don't know that they would have mentioned it because he didn't have a history of injury. But with Whitley, everybody's so keyed on him making an appearance that I think it's become bigger news.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing too about Whitley is I don't expect much from him this year. anything he gives would be gravy. He's got a 40-man spot, which is valuable, but not that valuable. They would like him to make his major league debut this year, but they moved to the bullpen. Anything they get out of him, hey, if he turns out to be a great bullpen arm, that would be awesome. If he turns out to be a guy who throws 25 innings and shuttles back and forth, whatever. That's he's not a key person to me. So for his sake, I certainly hope he gets back and healthy because his career is, as Andy says, one thing after another. But from what it means for the Astros standpoint, I don't think it means much because I don't expect him to contribute much.
Yeah, and I think watching the broadcast on the plane yesterday, Dana Brown was talking about potential middle relievers that are going to be impactful for the team. Forrest Whitley's name did not come up. So some of the excitement or some of the watch list kind of worry about him is fan driven, certainly. I don't know in the Astros organization if they got anything from him this year that it would be anything more than a bonus. Because he does need to make it through a season healthy. And if that's in Sugarland or if that's in Houston, I don't know that it matters other than him getting healthy. One of the healthy things that was discussed that Astros fans should be excited about, although I saw some on Twitter that were a little bit trepidatious, is Joe Espada was talking about potential lineup construction and talked about moving Yordan Alvarez to second on a regular basis. So batting him second, presumably behind Altuve, although I think that might be something I'd like to discuss. How does this is an analytical move. And as Brian talked about on Twitter, the analytics support having your best hitter hit second. And that is a leap from what traditional baseball says you do. Your best hitter is usually the third hole. This would be moving him up one spot. We've seen in recent year Ohtani bat in the second hole. We've seen other great players batting in the second hole. Judge, I think, is another one. So I was told when Dana Brown was hired that the Astros were abandoning all analytics. And now we seem to be making a move, at least the manager's making a move that is very much based on what the numbers are telling him he should do. So is Joe Espada just going against Dana Brown and we're going to have another conflict? Is that what I'm seeing? Or is the team aligning a little bit more with some of their more recent history and really leaning into the analytics with Joe Espada at the reins on the field? And Jim, I'll start with you on this one.
To me, it feels like I feel like things are starting to align. I think you're starting to I think just the difference in the way Joe Espada has done everything so far this spring, from talking about fundamentals to being really upfront with the media about we haven't heard a single, Hank Aaron story, which, I'm missing the Hank Aaron bedtime stories as much as the next guy. But no, it feels to me like there's an alignment happening that makes sense. I love the idea of Yordan hitting second. It only wipes away the 3-run home run the first time through the order. At that point, you're getting him up more times with the potential to have somebody in the back of your lineup having gotten on base, and then maybe Altuve, and then he hits the ball over the fence. So to me, I would rather get him one more crack at a lineup than the potential of an increased RBI situation. And I don't know if that's right or wrong. It's just what my gut tells me, but I do feel like you're seeing some philosophical alignment between the GM and the manager and the coaching staff, and I'm here for it.
This is really the difference of having a manager who came up in baseball after the analytic revolution happened and one who trained everything before that. And so Dusty would change and adapt and did that over his career, but the place he started from was how he learned about baseball in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And then when he started managing in 1993. Joe Espada, who is 25 years younger, has come up in baseball where, again, people have thought about these sort of analytic things. So the place where he starts from is different. And that was most obvious in Dusty and how he treated the number 2 spot in the order, which is he treated it like a traditionalist. You get a small guy who can get on base.
Or move a runner, slap the ball around.
The fast guy.
Yeah, and then he talked about he wanted Jeremy Pena there, and it worked out very well in the playoffs in 2022, so he could see more fastballs, which I actually looked up the numbers. He didn't actually see more fastballs, but that's also another change in the game that you don't quite sort of see that anymore. Lineup effects are overrated, but the one thing I do want to – so I will accept any lineup which takes the 4 best hitters on this team, who are Altuve, Bregman, Yordan, and Tucker, and puts them in any order in the first 4 spots in the order. And so I don't want to debate too much beyond that. Again, the 2 spot has become really valuable. The other thing to note about why it's important to put guys at the top of the order, they hit more. You get about, it's, on average, about 20 more plate appearances per lineup spot. And of course, if you get one more plate appearance from Yordan in the 9th inning, he may just take Robbie Ray deep for a 3-run homer.
Well, and the other thing too, Brian, I was thinking about this is it also forces the manager on the other side to manage earlier. Maybe now he's going to see Yordan the 4th time or 5th time. He might go to the bullpen at a time when he wouldn't before. Yeah. And I don't know how much that bears out, but it seems to me like should be a factor to be considered.
The time when that was most present to me was when we played the Red Sox in the 2018 ALCS. It's like 3rd time through the order. It's Mookie Betts. It's literally the MVP of the league that year, the best player, and you got the 3rd time through the order penalty. Boom, right there. So again, it forces more decisions by opposing managers. Absolutely.
All right, so we're all in agreement. Something you said, Brian. That Joe Espada is very likely a post-digital manager, more embracing the analytics. That would make Dusty more of a talkies manager. If Espada is Atmos Stolby,
Dusty at one point in his life walked up to a TV and turned it with his,
I feel bad for Joe Espada that he's never got the chance to go to Studio 54. He didn't even get to go to the Studio 4 reconstruction in the 90s.
He did see the movie, though, I think. I'm sure.
Maybe. Hey, Salma Hayek. I'll watch anything with Salma Hayek, no matter how bad Ryan Felipe is in it.
Exactly.
Hey, look, I just want to hear – look, Joe Espada should tell stories about his playing days. I'd love to hear about what went on at the University of Mobile when he was there. Frankly, I'd love to know that there is a University of Mobile. This is the first evidence I had that it exists.
I thought that was an online school, the University of Mobile. It's where I'm getting my executive MBA.
That's good. I like it. I'm just going to sit back here and laugh. That's funny.
More spring training to come this week. There's full slate of games. You're going to see players you've never seen before playing 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. You're going to see pitchers that won't be making the major leagues. Hopefully we score more than 1 run in 2 games, which, is a thing we should not be worried about right now. I know many Twitter fans are. So I will leave any closing thoughts with the 2 of you because there's nothing else to talk about right now.
Well, I've got a couple of weeks left, and I just want to say that we've got 18 days left on the Ballpark Nation fundraiser. Those of you who have helped us out, we're at 51% of our goal, which is pretty good. And all we're looking to do basically is raise the money for the finishing fees, which is something that Jim didn't calculate in this season's budget. Help me make up for my financial mistakes, guys. Thank you.
No. The Astros got on a bus for 3 hours today to go to Lakeland, except of course for the big boys. So you can skip today's game.
Yeah, I don't even think today is televised, but even if it were, it's going to be a lot of guys that will be in Sugarland and Corpus Christi.
A lot of guys wearing number 90 with no name on their back.
Jake Myers is sitting 3rd today, and that's not a bad decision based on who else is in the lineup.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the first major or spring training player to have 3 digits on his jersey. I'm sure it's happened before, but I want to see number 100.
Well, actually, I can leave this as a parting thought. Tim Meza, apparently, the Blue Jays apparently finished last in the Blue Jays Fantasy Football League last year, and his punishment was not only to serve as the bat boy, but to wear his record as his uniform number, which was 4 and 10. It still beats spending 24 hours in a Waffle House.
And I think on that note, nobody needs that kind of punishment. And you don't need any more of our punishment. So we will let you go. Have a good week. We will catch you next Monday. Go Astros.
Go Astros.
And Go Astros.